right, guys, so we have three different forms of linear equations. We have y equals mx plus b, which is slope-intercept form. We have y minus y sub 1 equals m, parentheses x minus x sub 1. This is point slope form. And ax plus by equals c, which is standard form. And most of what I've asked you to do is I have asked you to take point slope form and get it into slope-intercept. Or take standard form and get it into slope-intercept, right? I'm like, always get it into slope-intercept. Slope-intercept is kind of your golden form, all right? But today, we're going to be talking about how we can get things, yes, into slope-intercept form, but also, what does it look like to convert it back, convert something into standard form? So in order to be in true standard form, we have a few rules, all right? So one of our rules is that when you are writing in standard form, your standard form cannot contain fractions or decimals, all right? So it cannot have any fractions or any decimals. All right, Will, where's your notes?
I don't have it.
You don't have it?
It's at home, I think. I forgot.
There you go. Listen. You don't have yours? Well, actually, you guys could probably just do a piece of paper today. Just get a piece of paper out so you're on the right track. Because we don't really have a lot of graphs and stuff today. So you can just get a piece of paper out. This is page 6 and 7 in your notes. All right? Now, here we go. And the other second rule is that this leading coefficient, the a, which is the coefficient in front of your x, must be positive. So it cannot be a negative number. All right, guys? So it can't have any fractions or decimals, and it must be a positive number. All right. So, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to look at these, and we're going to say, okay, first of all, what form is it in? And then what form do we need to get it into? And how are we going to do that? So, number 6, what form are we starting with right here? Point slope form. All right, so we're going to take point slope form, and I will tell you guys, for x minus 3, we are going to take point slope form, and we are first going to convert it into slope-intercept. So how we're going to do that is we need to distribute that 4. So it's going to become y plus 7 equals 4x minus 12, right? Because 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 3 is negative 12, or 4 times negative 3. Now we are going to subtract our 7 from both sides, so we will have y equals 4x minus 19. So this right here, my y is completely alone, so my slope-intercept form is y equals 4x minus 19. Do y'all feel good about that? Now what we are going to do is we are going to take this lovely slope-intercept, and we are now going to convert it into standard form. Well, guys, standard form has your x's and your y's both on the left side of the equation, correct? So we are going to subtract this 4x over to the left side, so it cancels out on the right. So we are left with negative 4x plus y equals negative 19. So now both my x and my y are on the left. So let's see here. Does it contain any fractions or decimals? Does this one contain fractions or decimals? No, so we're good. Is that leading coefficient positive? No. So how we fix that is we're just going to multiply everything by negative 1. Are y'all good with that? Or I guess you could say you can also divide by negative 1. So that becomes positive 4x minus y equals 19. So this right here is my correct standard form. So 4x minus y equals 19. Do y'all feel good about that? So this right here, these are 3 separate equations that all represent the exact same line. So my line started in point-slope form. We converted it to slope-intercept, and then we also can see it in standard form. So we can take these equations and we can convert them between the three, but the line is actually the exact same for all three of them. Does that make sense? If you graphed it, it would look the exact same. All right, so let's take a look at number 9 here, okay? So for number 9, if we wanted to convert this point slope here, then we would take this, and this is our point slope form, and we're going to try to get it into slope-intercept form first. So I'm just going to rewrite it here. So y minus 3 equals 2 parentheses x plus 5. Okay? So we are going to be working towards that slope-intercept form. So will, now is when you write this equation down. So you write this actually down on your paper. So you pick up your pencil and you actually write it down. Yes, awesome. Okay? So then we go here and we say y minus 3 equals 2x plus 10, right? 2 times x and 2 times 5. Then we go here and we add 3 to both sides, and we have y equals 2x plus 13. Oops, I'm going to do this in my little blue color, because this right here is my slope-intercept form. Now guys, how do I know that slope-intercept form? What does it start with? Y equals. If you start with y equals, there's a good chance you're in slope-intercept form. We want to get that y by itself. Okay? Now we're going to take this slope-intercept form, y equals 2x plus 13, and we want to convert it into standard form. So I'm going to get the x off the right side here and move it over to the left by subtracting my 2x. So that becomes negative 2x plus y equals 13. We don't have any fractions, we don't have any decimals, but we do have a leading coefficient that's negative. So over here, we multiplied everything by negative 1. So we're again going to multiply everything by negative 1. So that will turn this into positive 2x minus y equals negative 13. Do y'all feel good about that? So that becomes 2x minus y equals negative 13. All right, are you guys tracking with me so far? Cool. Now here's the thing. I will ask you to take point slope and put it in slope-intercept and standard form. I will not ask you to take slope-intercept form and convert it back into point slope. Okay? Now, your answer choices could be in point slope, but then you would have to take all the answer choices and convert them into slope-intercept. Does that make sense? You can't really accurately do that because there's an infinite number of points that you could pick from for point slope. So you notice on 7, 8, 10, and 11 here, you notice on these four, because I kind of skipped, I went from 6 and 9. What you notice on these guys is it just, if it's in slope-intercept, it just asks for standard. If it's in standard, it just asks for slope-intercept. So I'm going to do number 10 here. I'm not going to do number 7, okay? So I'm going to do number 10 here. We are going to convert from slope-intercept into standard. Okay? So just like we've been doing up here, but we just don't have the point slope little version, okay? So we are going to say, okay, my equation is y equals 1/2 x plus 4. So in order to get this in standard form, I need to get my x over to the other side. Is that correct? So I'm going to subtract my 1/2 x from both sides. And I will be left with negative 1/2 x plus y is equal to 4. Okay, now we have a new problem. Now we not only have negative number that's leaving, we also have a fraction. So in order to clear our fraction, we are going to multiply this by negative 2. So whenever you want to clear a fraction, you multiply by the denominator. Do y'all feel okay with that? So we're going to multiply by this denominator. So negative 2 times negative 1/2 is going to give me a positive x. Negative 2 times positive y gives me a negative 2y. And negative 2 times 4 gives me a negative 8. So my standard form would look just like this. Do y'all feel good about that? So I want you guys to do the same. I want you guys to do number 7 right now on your own. I want you to convert this guy into standard form. All right, I want you to take that and I want you to convert it into standard form. So we're starting with slope-intercept and we are converting to standard form. Alright, if anybody has an answer they would like to share, please let me know. What did you guys get? Yeah, Will, what did you get?
4x minus y.
Perfect. Okay, 4x minus y equals 12. So we converted it, we subtracted the 4 from both sides, and then that canceled this lovely guy out. We are left with negative 4x plus y equals negative 12, multiplied by negative 1. So we got 4x minus y equals 12. Y'all feel pretty good about this? Awesome. Okay, for numbers 8 and 11 here, I'm going to do number 8 for you guys. So we are now, what form are we starting in? Standard, and we want to get into slope-intercept. We did a lot of this over in our last unit, okay? So we are going to say, okay, 3x plus 4y equals 8. So we are going to subtract 3x from both sides. And we are going to have 4y equals negative 3x plus 8. Divide everything by 4. And we are left with y is equal to negative 3/4 x plus 2. Alright? So we have y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2. Y'all feel good with that? So we take that and we get it into the y equals. So now I want you guys to go ahead and do number 11 on your own here. We have 2x minus 5y equals 15. It's in standard form. So I want you guys to do number 11. Notice that you will be dividing by a negative. So please be aware of that. Alright, does anyone want to share the answer they got on number 11 whenever you guys get there? Yes, Miss Abby, what'd you get? Good catch there. Okay, y equals 2/5 x minus 3. Good job with dividing by that negative. So we subtracted the 2x from both sides. We got negative 5y equals negative 2x plus 15. Divided everything by negative 5. And then negative 2 over negative 5 made it a positive 2/5. And the 15 divided by negative 5 made it a negative 3. So great catch there. That was an excellent job. Do y'all feel pretty good about this? Awesome. Alrighty. So that is our first page. We did several examples together. We're going to do 4 more problems. And then I'm going to go ahead and let you guys work on your homework. Okay? So here we go. So we are going to do some more practice. So guys, This time, we aren't given an equation. We have to write all three of the equations based on the table or the graph. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find our slope. So guys, how do we find our slope in a table? Remember, you do the change in y over the change in your x, correct? So here we go. What is the change in my y? From 5 to negative 5. We're subtracting 10. You're absolutely right. Okay, what about from negative 2 up to 3? We're adding 5. So the change in my y is negative 10. The change in my x is positive 5. So my slope is negative 2. Do y'all feel good with that? All right. Now what point do we want to pick here? What point are we going to pick for point slope form? My question for you is, does it actually matter? No. You can pick any of those 4 points. I tend to try to pick smaller numbers that seem easier to multiply. That's usually my MO. But guys, you don't have to. Okay? And on my actual notes, I think I have the correct answer for this first point on my Canvas page. But here we go. Let's do the second one. 3 and negative 5. Okay? So if we did this, we would say, okay, well my point slope form is, remember, y minus y sub 1. So y minus negative 5 would become y plus 5 is equal to m, which is negative 2, x minus x1, which is 3. So it just becomes x minus 3. Okay? In the last class, I actually used this first point, so it was y minus 5 equals negative 2x plus 2. Okay? So here we had y plus 5 equals negative 2x minus 3. There are actually 4 fully correct answers here just based on the table alone for your point slope form. For your slope-intercept and your standard form, there's only one right answer. Alright guys, so let's check this out. We are going to now convert this into slope-intercept form. So we're going to say, okay, y plus 5 equals negative 2 times x is just negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is plus 6. You guys okay with that? Now I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and we get y is equal to negative 2x plus 1. So this right here is my slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 2x plus 1. You guys cool with that? In order to get this into standard form, it's actually not too hard. What do we have to do to get it in standard form? All we're doing is adding 2x, aren't we? So that just becomes 2x plus y equals 1. Do I need to multiply by anything? We have no fractions. We have no decimals. Our leading coefficient is positive, so we are done. So 2x plus y equals 1. So those are the 3 forms of the equation for this particular guy. Do y'all feel good about that? Okay, so first we had to find a slope, then we had to pick out our points. Alright, for number 2, let's see here. How are we going to find our point here, or find our slope? What do you guys want to do here? Y'all just cool doing the top 2 here? Alright, so what is, if my slope is the change in y over change in x, we are going from negative 5 up to 1, so that's what? Adding 6. From negative 6 up to 2, we are adding 4. So that becomes 6 over 2. So my slope, 6 over 4. My bad, I was ahead of myself. 6 over 4. So my slope is 3/2. Do y'all feel good about that? Awesome. Okay, so now using that, can we write an equation in point slope form? We sure can. what point should we use to write it in point slope form? What do you think we should use, guys? Anybody want to pick a point? Josh, want to pick the top one? Are you guys okay with that? Okay, we'll pick the top one. -6, -5, okay? You do -2 and 1. Perfect. You write yours as -2 and 1. So we would say, okay, y plus 5 is equal to m, which is 3/2 x plus 6. If we picked negative and 2 and 1, it would have been y minus 1 equals 3/2 x plus 2, right? So this is my point slope form. Now, before I go, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and convert it now. X plus 6. So this would be what? Y plus 5 equals 3/2 x. Well, let's see here. X 3/2 times 6 is going to give us what? What is that? That's what going to be 9. Is that correct? So it's plus 9. Then we subtract 5 from both sides. And we get y is equal to 3/2 x plus 4. Do y'all feel good about that? Maybe? Maybe not? So that's y equals 3/2 x plus 4. Now before I move on, was there an easier way for me to do that without converting? Did anyone check it? What's in my table right here? Do they give me the y-intercept? They do. What is the y-intercept? 4. 3/2 x plus 4. Look at that. So did I really even need to do this extra work right here? No. I could have looked in my table and found that y-intercept and said, oh, y equals 3/2 x plus 4. Okay? Now, we're going to take our y equals 3/2 x plus 4, and we are going to convert this into slope, our standard form. It's in slope-intercept. So we are going to subtract our 3/2 x, cancel those guys out, and we get negative 3/2 x plus y equals 4. Yikes, this is not good, right? Our leading coefficient is negative, and it's a fraction. So in order to get rid of this, we need to multiply it by -2. Are you guys okay with that? -2. So this becomes a positive 3x, because our denominator cancels. Then -2 times y is -2y equals -8. So we have 3x minus 2y equals -8. Y'all feel good about that? Excellent. All right. So these are the three forms based on the table. Now, once again, you could have many correct answers for your point slope form. There is only one correct answer for slope-intercept, and there's only one correct answer for standard. Okay? Now let's look at numbers 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 are good because now we are given 2 points on a graph. So this is good reminder here. How do we find our slope on a graph, y'all? We do the rise over the run, right? So what is my slope on this little graph right here? We're going up 1, to the right 2, so it's just 1/2. Y'all feel good about that? So now that we have our slope, we also need to find our point. Now guys, looking at this graph, is that a clean y-intercept? Does that go through a pretty point? No. So we can't really write our slope-intercept form because we don't see it cleanly on the graph. It's in between the -3 and the -4. So which point do we want to use here? Do we want to use -1, -4, or 1, -3? What do you guys think? It does not matter. I'm going to do 1, -3 because I got less negatives to deal with. Are y'all cool with that? I'm just going to do 1, -3. So my point slope form would be y plus 3 equals my m parentheses x minus 1. If I had picked the other points, it would have easily just, so this is y plus 3 equals 1/2 parentheses x minus 1. If I had picked my other point, it would have been, what is that? Y plus 4 equals 1/2 x plus 1. Okay? Now we want to go here and we want to, so there were two options for your point slope form on number 3. Now we're going to go here. We are going to convert it. So that's y equals 1/2 x minus 1/2. Interesting. Now I'm going to subtract my 3. So this becomes y equals 1/2 x. Negative 1/2 times negative 3 is what? Negative 3.5 or negative 7/2. Are you guys okay with that as a fraction? I know it's a little bit ugly, but we're just going to go with it. And that's what? Negative 3.5. And does that track with where our y-intercept is on the graph? Yeah, it looks like it's about negative 3.5, so we're pretty good. Okay, now we're going to go over here, and we are going to convert our slope-intercept form into standard form. Okay, so right here we are going to go ahead and we are going to subtract our 1/2 x from both sides. So we are left with negative 1/2 x plus y is equal to negative 7/2. Okay, so now what do we do if we want to get rid of this fraction and negative? Well, we're going to multiply it by a negative. We're going to multiply it by a negative 2 because that's going to clear our fraction out. So that will leave us with x. Negative 2 times y is negative 2y. Negative 2 times negative 7/2 is going to leave you with a positive 7. So we're practicing a lot of skills here with our fractions, multiplying our fractions, and all that good stuff. Do y'all feel pretty okay about that? Maybe? Alright, last one here. Alright, first we need to find our slope. So what is my slope? Remember, slope is rise over run. So in this case, we're going down 3 and right 2. So that's negative 3/2. So my slope is negative 3/2. And then, what point do we want to use? I don't care. Which point do y'all want to use? Leela, what are you thinking? Let's do 1, negative 1. I like that. I actually like to write what point I'm using. You don't have to, but it helps me make sure I don't screw it up. Okay? So I'm going to write this in here, and I'm going to say, cool. Well, it's going to be y plus 1 is equal to negative 3/2 parentheses x minus 1. So that right there is my point slope form. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in there. Okay. Perfect. Then we're going to take this and we are going to convert it into slope-intercept form. So this is still y plus 1, but we have negative 3/2 x. Negative 3/2 times negative 1 is a positive 3/2. Then we're going to subtract 1, which is the same thing as 2 over 2. So that becomes negative 3/2 x plus just 1/2, or 0.5. So this right here is my slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 3/2 x plus 1/2. And we look here, and that tracks, doesn't it? That looks like our y-intercept is about a 1/2, so that tracks. So then we go and we take our slope-intercept form. I'm going to write it up here. Y equals negative 3/2 x plus 1/2. We are going to add 3/2 to both sides. 3/2 x. So that becomes 3/2 x plus y equals 1/2. And then our last little step here, it's not negative, but we still need to get rid of our fraction. So I'm going to multiply by my denominator, which is 2. So that becomes 3x plus 2y equals 1. So this right here would be the correct standard form. All right, 3x plus 2y equals 1. So on your homework for today, I'm going to pass this out in just a moment. You guys are going to be given a lovely sheet, all right, where I give you, I want a column of slope-intercept, a column of standard, and a column of point slope. There are 20 blanks on this page that I'm going to give you. There are also an answer bank of 20 problems. Awesome. So these answers are going to go in our blanks. All right? So like on number 1, we're going to start with point slope. Okay? So what I recommend doing is taking your paper and kind of ripping off the back side here. And you guys, for number 1, I worked this guy out. I said, okay, y minus 2 equals negative 3 parentheses x minus 4. I just copied it down from this number right here, okay? Then I went and I was like, okay, so I distributed my negative 3, then I added my 2, so I got y equals negative 3x plus 14. Now before I even wrote it down here, what I would probably do is go try to find it in my answer bank, which I do have it right there as letter H. So what I'm going to do is on my paper, I'm going to go here and write this letter H. You can either circle it, you can box it. So I said, okay, it's H and it's y equals negative 3x minus 4. I crossed off my thing here and now I have it. Then I would take this and I would convert it to standard form, and then I would find the correct standard form on here. Okay, now, when you guys get to these blanks with point slope form, like I said, you cannot convert to point slope form. So you are going to have to start with your point slope answer choices and take those and convert them and see which ones they match. Does that make sense, guys? So you can't go to point slope. You're going to have to start with some of your answer choices and go to slope-intercept or standard form. Does that make sense, guys? So this is what we're going to be working on for the rest of class, and then whatever we don't finish is going to be homework. All right, guys? Does that make sense? So it's like 10 problems, but really 20 because you're doing 2 things on every one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pass these out